Welcome from the luxurious Career Boss headquarters. I've been in business probably for 45 years or even more than that. The last 25, I've been a senior executive. I've been CEO of a couple of companies, been VP of several companies, and I've learned a lot in those years. And what I'd like to do actually is to pass that on to you. The first one in this Stuff You Should Know segment is about getting that job you want. This is a four-parter in this series. And so let's just get into it. So you want that job, whether this is your first job after graduating university, or maybe it's just time for a switch. So the first thing you got to do is read between the lines of the job description. There's all kinds of information out there for you. Just do a search on it. A simple one, I'm saying something along these lines. If they're asking for somebody that to manage a group of very different types of people, that means a couple of things. They're looking for somebody to replace a person who's left, who was very good at that, or a person that's been fired who wasn't very good at that. So just pay attention to the way they word things. And again, there's lots of sites out there that can explain how you can read between the lines. I say you've always got to use various sources to be continually updated on jobs that have come up. Here where I live in North America, we have a couple. Career Beacon is one of them. Another one is Indeed. And so if there's a job that I may, or a job title, I suppose, I may be interested in, this will alert me that it's available. So right now I have a consulting business. I'm a prof at a university, and I've also have a couple of businesses of my own right now. So if I'm looking for a potential client in my consulting business, where I offer marketing consulting services, I might look at a VP of marketing job and I'll contact the company or the HR person and say, what I do is marketing. Instead of hiring somebody full-time, you can have more value perhaps of hiring somebody like me for 3 days a week, and you don't have to pay the benefits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes I use job sites to do that kind of work, which works well. Next one. VidCruiter, I'll put a link below here, but VidCruiter is a newish way that companies check out a candidate before actually having to contact them to phone or do a video interview. They give you a set of questions you have to answer, and then you record yourself answering them and send it back, and they'll take a look at that. And they offer this service for all kinds of different large companies that you'll recognize in North America. So I'll put a link below. From what I understand, based on my students who have gone through this, they say you get one take and one take is all you get. So that makes it a bit of a challenge. I say you need to entice your prospective employer through a cover letter that's written expressly for them. You can't make a cookie cutter approach to cover letters. One of the things that gets my attention when somebody is looking for a job that I might have available is to say, here are the top 3 things that I will do if you hire me. Now, you can't stress that you don't know the company well enough to do this, but just use your common sense. And whatever you discover with the company, use your common sense. And people will allow for the fact that you may not understand the company as well as you could, because you don't work there. Make your resume modular. So you want to adjust for each job. There might be sections that you want to pull out or put in as you go through it. My resumes are kind of long at this point, so I have to adjust and shorten them through that kind of a method. So make them modular. Make them relate to the job as much as you can too. Wow, you got a typo, you got a grammatical, you're dead in the water. You probably proofread this resume yourself or your cover letter yourself, but you're going to skip over the mistakes because you remember what it is that you wanted to say. So have somebody else proofread this for you. Maybe it's a family member, wife, girlfriend, husband, whatever it may be, mom, dad. Have them read it for you to find these little mistakes. So make sure they look at both. Make sure they look at the resume and the cover letter. Next, some companies simply ignore the cover letter. There's one big company that was a client of mine. It was a utility big, very big company, and they don't have time for cover letters. So they just send a bot out to read your resume and see if they've got a match. Now the bot is looking for key terms, and the key terms that are important to the bot, the way it's been programmed, is the key terms that are used in the actual job description. So as much as possible, use the terms that are used in the job description when you submit your resume and your cover letter. All right, number 8. Video resumes are becoming popular, especially in the creative field. I'll give you an example. I'll put an example as a link below. I don't know if it's a great idea. Again, I think it might work well in a creative business. Maybe you're in advertising and you want to show a video of what you could do, an animated video, for instance. It's pretty hard for a bot to search through these. That means that people have to actually watch them, and that might be a bit of work. So take a look and see if it works for you. So, bonus area. So if you got a company in mind where you'd really love to work, there's a couple of ways to approach that. The very first thing that you do is see if you know someone who's there who can give you information and exposure. Maybe it's somebody that you have on LinkedIn that maybe knows somebody that's there. Take a look around, see if there's anybody you possibly could know. I just think whatever you can do would really work. It was kind of interesting. About a year ago, a friend of mine living in California gave me a shout. We were just chatting, and he says his son is trying to get into NASA. And I said, well, that's kind of interesting because my cousin is the chief engineer at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So what I did was I set up a meeting between my cousin and this fellow and or his son so they get to know each other a little bit. So you never know who's going to know something. Next one is scour the net. This is for any job. Scour the net for any information you can find on the company and perhaps the job itself. Do your homework. Check it out. SlideShare, which has been bought by LinkedIn, I think, and they're going to have a different name soon. But that's where people post slides from different companies, and it may give you a little bit of intel you didn't expect to have. Annual reports are fantastic for intel. You can also discreetly look up the potential bosses and the boss's team on LinkedIn or even Facebook or Instagram, something along those lines. LinkedIn's interesting because you can do it anonymously and check out your prospective boss out through there. Or you can leave it the way it is and let them know that you're actually looking. Okay, so that's what I do. If I'm looking for a new client in a business, I don't hide who I am and what it is I do. I let them know that here I am, I'm looking at you. Because people who stay up on LinkedIn get messaging on a regular basis called, I believe, who's looking at your profile. So use that to your advantage. Let them know that you're looking. I love this one. Contact their HR, or in this case, I was presenting this to marketing students, or the marketing manager and ask if you can have 15 minutes of their time to learn about the company. You're not setting it up that you're looking for a job or looking for them to offer you a job or going there for some sort of an interview. You're looking for information about the company. That's a lot less threatening to them. So the HR person, or for the person, in this case, the marketing manager. So just ask for 15 minutes of their time. Bring your resume if you get a face-to-face, but don't give it out because you're there on a fact-finding mission. You're there to find out about the company, what you do, and maybe, which is a great question to ask in an interview as well. I think I'll cover this later in one of the other three you want this job sections, is to ask what the biggest issue being faced by the company is right now. That's just a great question. And it also allows you to respond in a way that your skills may match what they need. So remember, you're on a fact-finding mission. Next one is, I don't know if people don't always do this. I'll follow up with a thank you notice. Something sent by mail that's handwritten is even better. At least an email thank you. And if you're being interviewed by multiple people, which is pretty common these days, make sure that you get the email address for all of them and thank them. Now, as any HR manager is going to tell you, this is the perfect chance to make a second impression. So you might have bobbled one of the questions that you had asked and you wish you'd done a little bit better on it when you were talking with this initial meeting you might have had. So this gives you a chance to sort of say, oh, I was thinking about this and here are my thoughts on that. It's just a great way to do it.